Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
In addition to their diplomas, some Detroit charter school students got a surprise today, a pathway to a bigger, brighter future.
We began with 2 rescue dogs looking for a home, and a woman approved to adopt them until the rescue saw that she was in a wheelchair. Glad you're with us tonight. The Clinton Township woman has spent more than 30 years as a paraplegic, which she says has never slowed her down.
And her wheelchair has never been an issue as she adopted 4 Shih Tzu mixed rescue dogs over the past 16 years. I'm Mara McDonald live this evening. And Mara, a volunteer rescue group apparently turned her down.
Karen, they did turn her down, and they cited her wheelchair as the reason why. Let me show you.
After the vet check, the interview, and the pictures of every room of Cheryl Angelelli's home, which passed with flying colors, it was her wheelchair that had a local volunteer rescue group turning her down.
She said to me that the dog Hank, which is the male dog, would be totally freaked out by my wheelchair, was her exact words. And I asked her, I said, has Hank ever been around somebody in a wheelchair that you know this to be true? And she said, well, I don't know, I have no way of knowing that. And I said, well, why don't you just give me the opportunity to go to the meet and greet and see how the dog reacts around me?
Sherry Skinner from Bark Bark Wag told Angelelli no. The group has 2 mixed breed small dogs that have to be adopted as a pair on their site. One is described as a snugglebug, the other as Spicy. Now, Skinner didn't respond to our request for an interview, but explained to me on the phone she felt the dogs were skittish, although that is not disclosed on any of the bio information. Angelelli answered all 81 questions the rescue required, one of which asked if anyone in the home had allergies or a medical condition. She answered no.
And I explained to her that, you know, I don't consider what I have a medical condition. And she said, well, we have to put something down. You have to disclose why you're in a wheelchair. I mean, that's against the law. You can't ask me that in a job interview. Why does it make it okay for you to ask me when I'm applying for a dog?
Angelelli had an accident more than 30 years ago. She has a spinal cord injury. It hasn't stopped her from being a Paralympic athlete or from ballroom dancing or rescuing 4 Shih Tzu mixes over the past 16 years.
Back here live, that was Charlie, her remaining Shih Tzu mix. The other Shih Tzu she had, Lexi, died of old age earlier this year, and she and her husband decided that Charlie needed a pal and that they would like to get another dog. Now, she says she was not trying to hide her wheelchair from this rescue. In some of the pics that she sent to them of her home that were required, you can clearly see the chair. As far as the rescue goes, and the quick phone conversation I had with them, they say they are not discriminating against her. We're live in Troy tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Wow, what a story. All right, thank you, Mara.
The warm-up begins earnestly tomorrow with a stretch of 90-degree days coming in the forecast. First hot spell.
I know, kind of exciting. I mean, summer. I don't know why. We always like the heat, right? But there are some showers for the morning, and that might be actually a good thing that all of our lawns need, right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, we did pick up some rain yesterday, guys, but it wasn't a ton. And this stuff is actually going to be a little bit less than even what we saw yesterday, but there will be some showers around. You can already see them on the radar tonight as this line sort of migrates south. There's a lot of stuff out there towards Grand Rapids that's not actually reaching the ground, and this is going to continue to weaken as we go forward. In fact, by the time we get towards daybreak, just a couple stray sprinkles around, and they may start to flare back up in the afternoon, but you can tell this is not going to cover a lot of ground. There's not going to be a lot as far as measurable rain there. I think a lot of us are going to get through the majority of the day completely dry, and then the heat really starts to turn up over the weekend. 88 Saturday. Sunday will be our first 90-degree day of the year. It will not be our last. In fact, it won't even be our last of this forecast. We'll see how hot things are going to get and just how long this heat wave is going to last when we see you again in a few minutes. Guys?
Okay, Ben. For the first time since leaving office, former Vice President Mike Pence publicly addressed the January 6th insurrection.
January 6th was a dark day in the history of the United States Capitol. But thanks to the swift action of the Capitol Police and federal law enforcement, violence was quelled. The Capitol was secured. And that same day, we reconvened the Congress and did our duty under the Constitution and the laws of the United States. You know, President Trump and I have spoken many times since we left office. And I don't know if we'll ever see eye to eye on that day. But I will always be proud of what we accomplished for the American people over the last 4 years.
Pence made those comments while speaking with a group of Republicans in New Hampshire. Federal prosecutors have, of course, charged more than 450 people now from more than 40 states in connection with the riot. That includes 9 people from here in Michigan.
Years of investigation and multiple raids result in charges against dozens involved with the Vice Lords street gang.
It's an extraordinary story. 40 people charged, accused of working to sell guns and drugs across the country. A 172-page indictment revealed after a search warrant on Hubble near McNichols at the home of alleged Vice Lords leader Keith Fordham. Now, his girlfriend says the accusations aren't like him. Authorities say his status in the gang protected Fordham.
I've been with this man for 17 years. We raising grandbabies together. I just don't understand this. He's not that kind of guy.
Mr. Fordham in this gang has several layers of insulation to avoid detection from law enforcement.
Investigators say 38 of the 40 people charged are in custody. Tonight, there is another vaccine incentive to encourage Michiganders to get the shot.
The Detroit Tigers are offering a voucher for 2 tickets to a game to those who get a shot at vaccine clinics the Tigers are hosting next week at the Fox Theater. Meantime, today the state reports 510 new cases and 57 additional deaths. The state's vaccination rate is now at 59.2%. That's up slightly from yesterday. Tomorrow, we are dedicating the day to give you the vax facts. We know a lot of people are still deciding whether to get a COVID-19 vaccine.
Dr. Frank McGeorge will be on every one of our newscasts answering the biggest questions that remain about the vaccines. Starting at 4 p.m., we'll be opening the Local 4 phone bank with members of the Detroit Department of Health standing by to answer your questions one-on-one. And Defender Sean Lay will be inside the efforts to encourage more people in the city to get their protection from the virus. The phone bank will be open from 4 in the afternoon until 6:30, so throughout our afternoon news block. The legal drama continues in the fight to get proposed changes to Detroit's charter on the August primary ballot. Today, the Michigan Court of Appeals ruling the charter proposal should not appear on the ballot. Charter Revision Commission is already planning an appeal on that to the state Supreme Court. Complicating matters is the fact that the city had planned on sending ballots to be printed by the end of this week. So hold on. It was graduation day on Belle Isle this evening for Detroit Achievement Academy. It's a charter school started back in 2013. It was a K-2 school rather, but it's now added a grade every year. Cool.
Pretty cool what they're doing. And today was its first graduation for the school's 24 8th graders. As Jason Colthorpe reports, every student received a life-changing graduation gift.
Siamese grader, Sanaya Goldstein. Mr. John Johnson.
The students' names were called.
Sierra St. John.
Teachers were recognized. Speeches were given.
Today has been filled with joy and happiness.
It was a normal graduation until this.
I want to, on behalf of President Philomena Mantella at Grand Valley State University, officially admit into our university this entire graduating class.
I mostly feel really excited for their families. Their families took a risk on us when we were opening, and they all got into their top choice high schools, and then today they got into college.
I was thinking, wow, that's amazing. You know, us kids so young get an opportunity like that, and it's so amazing. I just think that I was honestly speechless.
But the surprise was about to get even better.
That we want you to come to our institution tuition free.
It was the biggest blessing because a lot of these kids wouldn't be able to go to college without their tuition being paid.
And in that moment, Tamara Mitchell's daughter, Sienna, turned and they shared a look, knowing that her life just changed for the better.
Yeah, I almost cried. And I looked back at my mom because I knew she was going to cry. I did cry. Because now they have something to look forward to. Now they know they're fighting for something.
Yeah, The free tuition, by the way, is for any family that makes less than $50,000 a year. All the kids have to graduate high school to qualify for this, but as you kind of heard in the middle of that, they're well on their way to doing that. These kids are exceptional. They're all enrolled and in their high school of choice already, ready to start. I'm Jason Coulter, Local 4.
Oh, that smile on that
great.
daughter's face, because she knew, like, oh my goodness, I have this great opportunity.
Yeah, and Jason, in fact, the tears are testimony to how important they know this is.
There were so many tears from administrators. I can't tell you how many times parents stood, tried to compose themselves to thank teachers, thank administrators for where their kids are. It was really an emotional scene.
Yeah, it's really great to see.
What a great story to share. Thank you, Jason. Well, still ahead tonight at 11, lawmakers accused of drinking while on the job.
I had to tell her that that she was.
How this lawmaker is responding after admitting to drinking wine before speaking on the House floor.
It's been a controversy since the start of the pandemic. What the state health director had to say in Lansing today about the number of pandemic-related deaths in nursing homes.
But first, a high-speed chase keeps going despite the tires being blown out on the truck. A wild ending to this chase coming up next.